What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the new movie Coming to America 2. So, before we get into this video, I wanted to warn everybody that there are going to be spoilers for this movie. I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free, but it is going to have some spoilers, because there's like a really important plot point that I really want to address in this movie that shouldn't have been in this movie. So, I just wanted to warn you about that. But I will try to keep it as spoiler free as much as I can, because I don't want to run it completely for everybody and everything. So if you don't want to hear any spoiler thoughts on this movie, I'd recommend just waiting and watching the movie first and then coming back and watching the video. This movie takes place 30 years after the original, and Akeem, played by Eddie Murphy, once again, is becoming the king of Zamunda after the death of his father, and he has to find an heir to the throne because he has 3 daughters with Lisa, and they didn't have any sons. So he finds out that he has a long-lost son in America because he was drugged and raped during the events of the first movie, apparently, and so he goes there to find the son and everything and bring him back to Zamunda and everything to become prince. And most of the rest of the movie follows is more from the son's perspective. His name's Lavelle, played by Jermaine Fowler. Pretty much he's trying to learn how to become prince and stuff, and it's pretty much kind of the same story as the first one, except opposite. Like, instead of going to America and learning how to live in America and stuff, an American is going to Zamunda, learning how to live the lifestyle there. And General Izzy, who is the new ruler of next door, the kingdom from the first movie that Akeem was supposed to be marrying the princess from. He comes in and is offering his daughter to Lavelle, and unlike Akeem did in the first one, he actually agrees to it, but before they can get married, he has to learn how to be a prince and go through certain tests and stuff, like stealing whiskers from a lion and everything, which that scene is just absolutely hilarious. And they do a lot of build-up and stuff about like showing how scared he is and stuff, and I thought that was really good and everything. And that was one of the funniest parts in the movie, when he's having to face off with that lion. I thought that was really cool. And I still really enjoy this movie. It does have a lot of good stuff and everything. It is really predictable though. Like, he meets this barber girl named Marimbi, who is doing his hair and stuff, and they have a lot of talking and stuff throughout their scenes together, and you know that they're going to end up falling in love by the end of the movie. And since she's not royal, they're not going to be supposed to getting married and stuff, so you knew kind of how it was going to end. But it is really predictable and stuff, because of course he changes the rules and stuff so that his daughter can become queen of Zamunda whenever he dies or whatever, instead of letting Lavelle become king, because he doesn't. I don't think he really feels like he's fit to be king anyway. So he changes the rules. You knew that was going to happen. I mean, this movie is very, very predictable, and the original one was too. I mean, it was really predictable. I knew exactly how the original was going to end as well. It's just something that if you know the formula of comedy movies, and especially ones that have to do with romance and stuff, you know how they're going to end. And this one, it's not really any different from that. But yeah, this movie was a lot of fun, but I really didn't like the whole thing with the fact that he was date raped and stuff. They just make pretty much make a joke out of it and act like it's no big deal and everything, just because he's a man and everything. If a man gets date raped, it's no big deal, or if a man gets raped, it's okay because they're a man and everything. That's something that they've been doing in movies recently. They did that with Wonder Woman 2 also, where they're just pretty much saying, okay, if men are allowed to be raped and stuff, it's okay. And that really annoyed the crap out of me, and that they did that in this movie and the last movie too, Wonder Woman. I really don't get why they're trying to push that message on there, because rape isn't good. It doesn't matter who's doing it. It should be taken a lot more seriously and stuff. I just didn't like that about this movie, that they were just pretty much saying you were raped, but it's okay since you're a guy. It doesn't matter if you get raped or not. And it just really annoyed me. I normally don't try to get into stuff like that in my reviews and stuff, but it just really bothers me that they prove that stuff. I don't know who came up with that idea, but it was a really horrible idea. They could have just found some other way to make it where he had a kid with her instead of making it being where he was raped. And I don't think that Leslie Jones' character is the one that drugged him and stuff. I can't remember who actually put the drug in his drink. I think it might have actually been the ugly girl from the first movie that Arsenio Hall played in the flashback scene. I think she might have been the one that did it, but I can't remember. But either way, it's not right. I didn't like that about this movie. But aside from that, I did have a lot of fun with it. That and the predictability does take it down a little bit, but it's more the rape thing than the predictability, because I expected it to be a predictable sequel and everything. Now I will say though that the cast in here are really good. Eddie Murphy just steps back into the role of Hakeem like he never left it, and he's really great in this movie. And it's also great seeing him as all these other characters that he played in the first one and stuff, so getting to see them back in here and everything. They don't have a lot of screen time, which is fine. They didn't have to be in this movie a lot anyway, but it was still cool getting to see them again and seeing where they're at all these years later. And Arsenio Hall is really good in here, although he's kind of sidelined in this movie. I was actually expecting him to be in here a lot more than he was, but he was still fun watching him in here. He wasn't near as funny in this one as he was the first one, but I still like seeing him in here. And Sherry Hadley as Lisa is once again really good, and her chemistry with Eddie Murphy is still really great. I just really wish she would have had a lot more to do in this movie. She's just pretty much there to get him to change his mind about the laws and stuff, so that their daughter can become the queen of Zamundo instead of forcing it on he barely even knows and stuff. So her story arc was just pretty much that, but she was still really good in here, and it was awesome getting to see them two together again, and their chemistry is just still really great. As far as his daughters go, they were all pretty good. Mika is the only one that really has much of a story, though, since she's the one that trained to become the queen and stuff, which I just don't get why she was trained to become the queen when she when she wasn't supposed to become queen. That part of the story kind of didn't make sense. It kind of a little bit of a plot hole, I guess, but yeah, Kiki Lane plays her, and she's pretty good. And the other two daughters, Oma and Tanashi, are played by Eddie Murphy's real life daughter, Bella Murphy, plays Oma, and Kylie Love plays Tanashi, and they're both pretty good. But they don't really do much in this movie. You could have taken them two out, and it really wouldn't have changed the story or anything. But they were alright. And then Tracy Morgan plays Lavelle's uncle, Reem, who pretty much helped raise him and stuff, and was more like a father to him than an uncle. And he's actually really good in here. Doesn't have a lot to do, and kind of like with the two sisters, if you took him out, it wouldn't have really changed the story, but he's still just a likable side character. And Leslie Jones plays Mary, and I'm not a fan of Leslie Jones. I actually really can't stand her. There's just something about her that gets on my nerves really, really bad. And when I heard that she was going to be in the movie, my expectations dropped and everything. I found out she was going to be in it like just a few days after I did my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year list, and Coming to America 2 was really high on that list. I don't know if y'all watched that video, but if y'all remember, it was pretty high on there. And when I found out that she was going to be in this, I was like, man, that would have dropped the movie off of my top 10 list, because of, I just really don't like her. She just gets on my nerves really bad, but she was actually really good in this movie. She's really funny, and there were quite a few parts where she had me cracking up and everything. It just shows if she's working with the right people, she can be really good and everything. And it was really cool getting to see James Earl Jones again as King Jaffe. It's really sad though and everything. I'm not gonna lie, it's sad seeing him so old and frail and everything. But you could tell he was having a blast being in this movie and everything. So it was cool getting to see him again. It's sad though, and I will say, like, his voice, it just sounds really, really horrible. I thought maybe his voice acting in The Lion King was really bad, just because he wasn't into it and stuff. Because most of that, pretty much everybody in that movie, except for Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner, seemed like they weren't into the movie. But I honestly, it kind of changed. This movie changed my opinion on James Earl Jones. I think he was just doing the best that he could. His voice just isn't as strong as it used to be, and everything. And that happens with age. So maybe it really is just his age was what was really holding him back from being as good in the remake as he was in the original. And he wasn't in his prime anymore. But it was awesome getting to see him. And when they do his funeral and stuff at the beginning of the movie, because he wants to see his funeral before he dies and everything, and he's on the verge of dying, so they do the funeral, and Morgan Freeman is the one delivering the eulogy and stuff, and it's really awesome getting to see him too. He's really good in here. I think he's just playing himself, but it was really cool getting to see him. And kind of like with James Earl Jones, it's sad though, because his voice isn't as strong as it was, and still, it's kind of sad seeing both of these actors that I like so much old and frail and everything. But it was really, really nice to just get to see Morgan Freeman again. I haven't seen him in anything in a really long time, so made me realize how much I've missed seeing him and stuff and everything. But all in all, I think Coming to America 2 is a pretty good sequel. It's way better than it could have been and everything. Like I said, it could have been a terrible movie because of how long we had to wait. And I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, especially ones that have that crazy expectation that it's going to be as good as the first. I never expected it to be as good as the first, but I still had hopes for it. The trailers looked funny and stuff. I just had hoped that this movie was going to be good, and it is good. Aside from the rape subplot that really is just in there to be in there. It's really stupid, and they just play it for laughs and everything. That's really the one thing about the movie that takes it down a notch. I was going to give this movie an 8 out of 10, but because I really did enjoy it, but with the rape subplot, I'm going to have to drop it down to 7. Because there was no point in that. They could have found other ways of making it where he had a kid and stuff, or just made it where he had to find some kind of relative or something. But all in all, I think this is a really good movie. I definitely would recommend it if you like the first one. Just don't go in there with super, super high expectations and everything, because it's not as good as the original. But if you go in there not expecting it to be, then you might enjoy it. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Coming to America 2, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.